Karen Kennedy, and I'm a certified nutritionist, and I'm over in Washington State, and I specialize in in metabolic health. I support people primarily using continuous glucose monitors and digestive health, and I work via telehealth, and I see people one-on-one, and I run some group programs. Before we connected, I had just restarted my practice again. I had taken some years off to homeschool my kids, and I was jumping back in. I had just done another certification with IFNA to kind of up-level my skills and, dust off the dust because and I was just kind of getting things back on track so that I could start practicing again. I was running some programs, some online group programs, and seeing people one-on-one. But I was at the point where, I was a healthcare provider. I help people. And to me, marketing was like a 4-letter word. It wasn't consistent with helping people, marketing. So I actually, not only did I know nothing about it, I didn't want to even engage with it. I think back before I started working with Lesli, so I'm thinking 2019, 2020, I had all these great ideas. I was creating great programs for people, and I could not fill them. I couldn't price them low enough to get people in them. And I didn't know how to reach people. I did not know how to reach people. I live out in the country, so I don't have a big urban population to work with. I didn't know how to market online. I didn't know how to fill my programs. And I was consistently working with people who I didn't know how to serve. Like, I didn't have a niche. And I also was resistant to niching. And I didn't know, I thought that would really limit who I could work with. Before I joined Epic, I had already been working with Lesli for some time, and I had taken a break. I had done her 6-figure business course, and I've been ticking along, doing really well. But I was at a point in my business where I needed to grow. I knew that there was a step I wanted to take and scale my business, and I needed a little bit of input because I didn't want to do that thing where you make some big decisions and put something out there and then realize, oh, I wish I would have done this. And so what I wanted to do was just invest a little bit and get some coaching and get some advice so that I could make some good decisions on the foundational end of things so things would work better. When I first started working with Lesli, I was definitely in the market for a business coach. And even back then, there's a lot of good people who are not just business coaches, but they work specifically with healthcare providers and even with people in the nutrition field. And I think I worked with Lesli for a few reasons. One is, she's a dietitian and she has an MBA and she has a lot of experience with coaching. And so I had encountered her in a few different areas, but I think it was the coaching part that sold me because that was an area that I was weak, as I think a lot of people who are in the nutrition and healthcare profession, where we tell people what to do and we lack those coaching skills. And so to me, I saw that not only was she going to help me with those coaching skills, working with clients, she was using those in her marketing. And I think that's what really attracted me to Lesli. So I think one of the first most important things that I learned from Lesli was how to present my offers, was how to present myself as a person, and so people knew what I did. I think it's because when people would come to me, even if I was like on social media or talking to somebody, I think they got a sense of, oh, she's a nutritionist, but I don't quite know what she does, so I don't know what she can do for me. So people weren't seeing themselves in my offerings. And so she really helped me learn not only how to present myself, but she also, I think, taught me how when you're niching, you are not actually limiting yourself. Actually creating a niche for myself didn't mean I couldn't work with other people outside of the niche. It was more of a way for people to see themselves in what I was offering, so they knew that I was there to help them. And it also made my work a lot more efficient. So I learned how to present myself and present my offers to people. That was a huge thing and something I still run into obstacles, and I just have to remember what I learned from Lesli. It comes more naturally now. So another thing I learned, which is so vital, was how to take a discovery call. So, we have these calls. I have these calls that I offer, and they're free of charge. And I talk to a person. That's where we can decide, are we a good fit for each other? And before I worked with Lesli, because marketing was a 4-letter word to me, I practically talked people out of working with me. Well, I'm sure you're fine. I could work with you or not. And I guess you would call it my sales closure rate was, I didn't even know what it was, but I don't even want to look at what it was. But because so much of what Lesli talks about is coaching, it's not that you're trying to be pushy or sell things. It's helping, it's talking people through what they want, trying to help them understand what they want, and developing this relationship with them. And so now I understand how to take a coaching call and how to ask questions and how much to offer there, and to actually invite people in, and that people actually want to be invited in. And Lesli helped me understand that. And so now my discovery calls, I get a much better closure rate. And when I don't close on it, it's just not a good fit. But I think I have found, for me, that place where, marketing meets coaching, where it's actually a win-win. I'm building a relationship rather than doing this big hard sell. That was the second. That probably was one of the most important things. But then the third one is I can finally fill these programs. I love making group programs. I love teaching them. And now I know how to fill them. I know how to let people know that they're there and know what they do and be specific instead of incredibly vague. And now I'm learning how to do it in a way that doesn't take me so much time. They fill themselves, and I'm able to reach more people. I've worked with Lesli a little while. I did our 6-figure business academy, and then I went off. And when you work with Lesli, it's like drinking from a fire hose. She over delivers. I have so much material. There's still so much that I haven't implemented. So all I have to do is just go back and review some things. But after about a year, I realized that I had some more questions, because now I was kind of operating at a different level, and my business needed to grow, and I wanted to scale some offerings. And so she started offering this Epic group, a nice, small, intimate group where we could go and actually get coaching in a small group online. So not only do we get access to Lesli and get to talk through some things, but there's also other providers there, other practitioners who are really great at what they do. So we can really help each other in this format. And so for me, I had finally got my business to a certain level, but I didn't know what to do. I'd never been there before. And so getting some very specific advice, like in my instance, I needed to know how to price some offerings. And I had some visuals. I had some visuals I was using to price some offerings. And for example, that just allowed me to just bring that into the group and say, okay, how do you like this? Is this clear? Is my messaging clear? And how often do you have a group of practitioners and a coach that actually, will say, oh, well, this isn't clear. I don't really understand that. What are you asking? And can give you some feedback on that before you actually put it out into the public. And so that's what Epic did, is it, the 6-figure Business Academy took me from someone who didn't understand marketing, how to build an email list, and how to be strategic that way, and got me humming along there. And Epic allowed me to touch base when I had a few extra questions and really take my business to the next level. I started working with Lesli in 2021, in the middle of the shutdown. And I had started my business up, I think sometime in 2019, and I was ticking along very slowly. And I was at the point where I thought, can I be in private practice, or do I need to get a part-time job? And I really wanted to work for myself because I still wanted to be parenting the way I wanted to parent. So I wanted it to work. So 2020 was not a great year in so many ways, but my income was not where I wanted it to be. And so I did the 6-figure Business Academy with Lesli starting in March of 2021. And in that year that I was working with her, because every time you meet, you're like, oh, I'm going to implement this and this. First of all, in that first month, I actually paid for the program because I learned how to fill a group program. So that worked, and that income jumped up. But my total gross income for 2021 was 430% higher than 2020. That it was just night and day. All of a sudden I had a viable business. I had an income. And then, so that was 2021. And then just continuing to apply what I learned and just be smart about building my email list, knowing how to take discovery calls and filling my programs. 21 to 2022, I saw a 92% increase in my gross income. So that was just huge to me. And it told me that I, of course, I'm not going to grow by 430% every year because, and that's fine, but that I can actually keep, ticking along and increasing my income gradually. And that was really important. And honestly, one of the big ways I'm able to do that is that one of the things I learned in that, both in Epic, but one of the things I learned in there was how to hire other people to help me. Because once my business started to grow, I noticed that I was spending more time on marketing and I had less time for my clients, and there's only so much time I have. And so I learned from Lesli what the important things to look for in hiring someone like a virtual assistant or someone to do your social. And it allowed me to hire somebody to help me with my marketing and my email list so that she could take that off my hands and do it actually a little bit better using what I've learned from Lesli. So that's helping my business grow even more now. If you're at a place with your business where you're just not sure how to price things, you've got some great ideas and great, of how to help people, but you're just not connecting with your ideal clients, that is where it is so worth the investment, I think, to work with Lesli, because you're going to learn how to work smart so that you're not spinning your wheels, making all these great programs, but not being able to connect them to actual clients. So I think that's a great reason. So learning how to do that marketing, if you were like me and you thought marketing was a 4-letter word and that was really smarmy and you wanted to separate that completely from your business, I think Lesli would be a good fit if you're finding a way to make marketing and business really a win-win for you and your clients. Then working with Lesli is actually a really good fit for that. If you've worked with Lesli before, you know how much information you get from her. And if you've done the 6-Figure Business Academy, you've got all of these handouts and all of this great information to go back to. But particularly if you're in private practice and it's just you're all by yourself, sort of making decisions in a vacuum, I think Epic is a great place to go back into so you can continue getting that same kind of support, encouragement, and good advice, frankly, to help you continue moving your practice forwards.